Now I have Dr. Patrick Kweku Ofori, Chief Executive Officer of the Bulk Oil Chamber, to talk to me. Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution. Doc, thanks for talking to us. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard.
COMAC says you don't have to charge a higher price for this window than you did for the previous window on the basis of the Middle East crisis because the products you procured were procured long before the conflict. True or false?
False.
So when did you buy the current products you are selling to OMCs?
So, Bernard, I think Riverson and Abbas contacted me over the weekend about this issue, and then I quickly put a call to the dominant members who have got the product in country. But unfortunately, sometimes you may have the product, and we've had an issue of this nature before. Some of the products may be in, but it may be on what we normally call financial hold. That the IOTC still hold custody of the product, and then you negotiate with them. There are also products that are in or based on the pricing situation that most of them would go through. Well, others would maybe say the weekly average or monthly average. Others will also say will trigger the price on a daily basis so that they also reduce their exposure depending on who has the product and who has the holding certificate for the product in country. So when it happens like that, but unfortunately, most of the big guns who do what we normally call tender, when they've done their tender for the product that they will need for the window already, and then they are the ones calling our members that, oh, we've seen that the situation is going ahead, and that once the situation is going ahead, can we get more product for the previous tender that they have already closed on? And we all work in an industry that is very small. And yesterday we all are trying as much as possible to reduce the burden on the consumer. I happen to be in a meeting with one of the main OMCs that their colleagues were calling him that he should go up so that the rest of them can go up, because he controls a chunk of the market share and also is more or less has a strong relationship with us.
Let me understand. So, let me understand what you're saying. You're saying that even though the International Oil Trading Company may have sold a product to a BDC at a certain price, which is prior to the war, because maybe you have not made payment for the product, they still have control over the product they've sold to you, and they can decide to raise the price because of the war, even though you bought it from them before the war. Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm trying to say is that with the trading, they have something they call trigger. I've provided the product to you. You've gotten the lake, and I've provided the product to you. Some will say that for maybe 30% of the consignment that you've brought to me, I want to pay on what we call weekly average. So they will look at the whole week, the pricing, and then they use it to pay. And then they say that maybe the chunk of the product, I don't want to expose myself too much. So what I want to do is, on a daily basis, as the flat price are shown, that is how much I want to pay you. So when you go in for those triggers and you've already signed in, you may have the product in country, but as you trigger the price on the day, is the pricing on the international market on that day, that is how much you are buying it for. And then also, you may have the product in country, but because you've not been able to pay the product that they've supplied to you previously, because the chunk of the market relies on what we call credit. You say that I have the product and these products are on financial hold unless you pay the ones that we supply to you. So the moment the products are on financial hold and you are coming in today to buy it, he's not going to sell to you the same price. He is using the day's price, or if your agreement says it's a weekly average, then you go and pay the weekly average.
But this, I get it. But this weekly pricing thing doesn't affect all, because let's assume there are 10 BDCs. I'm sure there are some of you who have already bought and paid for this coming pricing Windows products, and the price that you paid was much lower than what the international oil price is saying. So that even if there's a percentage of your members who are affected by what you've described, that percentage shouldn't be 50%. It should be lower, correct?
Your question again.
I'm saying that what you've described may be true, but does not apply to all your members, because they all have different arrangements with the international oil trading companies.
Basically, is they run the same. Other than that, your exposure will be too much that you will not be competitive.
No, because your colleague is telling me that from all he knows about how you work, there's no reason to say that the price that you are selling the finished product to the OMC should be reflected by the current crisis, because the transaction was completed before the war started.
So what my colleague is failing to admit is that if the argument that he's making is to hold, then it means all the transactions that happen in that window that they have taking custody of the product, they should be waiting to be negotiating for the next window pricing.
So?
But do you get a point that I'm making?
No, I don't. For me, I don't want to complicate issues. It's like, you see, yeah. I know every industry has its technicalities, but we don't want to make it complex. Yeah. There's a war in the Middle East, and that war obviously has increased the price of crude to its highest level since 2022. We understand this. And we know that eventually, if the war continues, the price that BDCs will lift or buy their finished product will be higher. Nobody's arguing with that. What I am concerned about is this coming pricing window of 16th March, which products you have already procured prior to the war. Now you're saying that because of the way payments are spread out and because of arrangements with IOTs, some of the BDCs may not have had full custody of the finished product and therefore may pay a higher price. And I'm saying, even if that is true, that doesn't apply to all the BDCs. And you are failing to admit that.
Oh, no. That was why. So it may not necessarily apply to all of them. But you check the product, those who hold the product in custody, they normally wouldn't want to also expose themselves so much in that sense. But Bernard, what I want to
expose themselves how? You've sold a product as an international oil trading company to a bulk distributor. You have a relationship for over 10 years. He's not failed in paying. So I don't understand what you're saying. Is it that you know that some of your members want to charge a higher price, which is why you're having difficulty in sort of telling me?
Not at all. Not at all, because as I'm speaking to you, some of almost all our members who hold a chunk of the product have even asked me to meet the minister for us to arrange and see how best they can cushion them. But what they also don't want a situation whereby the OMCs take advantage of the Ghanaian people. So most of them are willing to rather do swap with GOI because they know when GOI gets the product and GOI is not cheating the final consumer. Because the cause that I was saying, the meeting that we're in, is that we're trying to secure and find a way that we know that we meet the government halfway to ensure that we can source the next batch of product coming in. At the same time, ensure that when the product gets to the OMCs, they want to lock in the product now. It will take about 5 or so days to hit the filling station. That 5 or so days in that marketing window, they are never going to sell to you at the prevailing price that they bought to us.
Well, the OMC rep is telling me that they don't expect to do that, which is why he is saying that if there's anybody who is going to try and cash in, it's you guys. Because I just spoke to Riverson. I don't know if you listen.
And I'm also telling you. So if I just didn't want to mention him, but I can confidently tell you that we want a situation whereby at least government business will go on. I personally called Abbas, and I have also requested to meet the minister or some of our members who have the product to ensure that whatever it takes to ensure that nobody takes advantage of the consumer is what we're going to do.
So are you committing that your members will not try to sell at a higher price than they procured the product?
I can confidently say so, because like I'll say, like I keep on repeating, most of our members have even come up with a solution for us to meet the minister tonight and propose ways to ensure that nobody gets taken advantage of.
We'll leave it here. Thank you for talking to us. This is
Thank you very much.
Breakfast Show. That was the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Producers, Dr. Patrick Kweku Ofori.